Hey folks, how you guys doing? Hope you're all having a great day today. It is really late on a Thursday, almost Friday morning, and I figured I'd come out here and update you guys on some stuff. Just ramble onto the camera because there is so much stuff going on, so much positivity. Life is great, and I'm just really excited to hopefully tomorrow, well, later on today, I guess, really get back into the projects. So I've got 12 things on my list. This video may take a little while, but I'm going to try and run through here. Number one, the last article and video I published was on my mobile, it was Mobile Workbench, Plywood Rack, and Lumber Rack. That was the name of the video. I had no idea what to call that video. It was basically just a productive day in the shop. Where I made my workbenches mobile, plywood rack, and lumber racks. So in that video, I used the Rockler workbench casters, and man, those things are awesome. That's one of those things that I've been thinking about doing for a long time. I don't know why. I just put it off for so long to actually put those on. But I'm so glad I did. These workbenches are now kind of like carts here in the shop. I've been moving stuff around, which is great. It gives you the ultimate flexibility as far as, stuff not being in your way. There's an ideal location for a workbench in my shop, but if I've got to build something larger and I need that space for assembly or staging, then I can just push them off to the side, which is it's just been great. I've said for a long time, so many people say this, make everything in your shop mobile. Definitely do that. Totally loving these casters. The other thing in that video that I put up was the Bora wood racks, or I guess they're Bora Portamate wood racks. I forget exactly the name, but I put those up in the shop shed, and they're doing the job just fine. That's something that again I've wanted for a while, is a lot of long wall storage where the length of the board's not really going to matter, because I'm running out of space in my shop. And I guess that's the problem with everybody, I guess. But having a shed out back it's just been so convenient to store stuff for the business specifically, not get full of household clutter and stuff like that, other than 2 bicycles. It's just been great, and again, something else that I should have done a long time ago. And then the last one in there was the plywood rack. Now, briefly about that plywood rack, it's the 3rd plywood rack that I've made, and the first one, I said when I made the second one that the first one was a mistake because I made it vertical on the opposite side of the garage door rails in my shop, or my garage, and it was just inconvenient to get pieces in and out. The second one I made was, I think, based upon was it Wood Magazine or one of the Wood magazines? It may have been Wood Magazine. They had a plan on a plywood /offcut cart, and I think I modified it just slightly, but it worked great. I had 0 complaints with that, other than the fact that once again I ran into some issues where it just taking up too much space in the shop. So nothing wrong with it, but I went ahead and gave it away a couple years ago, gave it to somebody locally, and I think they're still using it. I don't know. So there's that, and then again, wanting more plywood for certain projects, nowhere to put them, so the shed comes along. Now that I have the shed, I got to have some place to store the plywood, just because I didn't want to put them up against the side, and I'll get into that in just a second. So there you go, plywood cart right in the middle of the back of the shed. So that particular shed is, it's built on, are they called runners or sleds? They're 4x6, I guess I'm going to call them sleds, that go all the way down the entire length of the shed, and that's where the floor joists are built upon. It's a very common building practice where I live, where there's not really much deep foundation issues like, in northern climate areas where you have to go so far below the frost line for, to prevent frost heave and all that stuff. This was kind of a portable setup, really. Very common around here. So, where was I going with that? I haven't been getting much sleep lately, which I'll get into that too. Oh, yes. So that being said, I wanted the plywood rack to be right in the middle because it straddles both of those runners or sleds, whatever you want to call them, just for weight distribution. And why not put casters on the entire plywood rack? And just pull it all out of the front. That way you need to get a couple pieces off. It's more convenient. that might be more convenient to get the pieces off, but it's going to be a tremendous amount more inconvenient to slide that whole plywood cart as it's loaded up and heavy on casters on a plywood floor, which the casters at that point might dig into the wood a little bit just due to weight. And then, take 1 or 2 pieces off and then push all of that back. That will be much more inconvenient than just simply sliding 1 or 2 pieces out as you need them. And not only that, but I've got one of those, I forget what they're called, and I don't see it in here. It's one of those, I think it's a gator grip or something. It's one of the Plywood Rack, plywood holders where it just hooks over the top and then there's a handle and you just get underneath that handle and lift up and you just walk with it. So it's not like you're trying to hold this whatever, it's just you're using your body. So it's very easy to move a sheet of plywood. That's why I didn't put casters on the bottom of it. And just to be a hypocrite immediately with that, I wanted all the way to the plywood right in the middle to straddle both of those runners or sleds. That makes sense to me, but it also doesn't make any sense that I put all of the hardwood lumber on one side. So there's a little bit of a contradiction in my thought process. But yeah. So speaking of the lumber rack, I use the Bora Portamate lumber racks or wood racks. Quick and easy. You can't complain with that. And it's only so many hours in the day. Yes, I could have made a lumber rack system, but just install is what I was wanting to do with that particular situation. So that's what I did. Number 2 on my list is, again, the shed build versus buy. It's all circumstantial. I live in Mississippi. Mississippi has high temperatures in the summertime, not like desert heat, but we get right below 100 degrees regularly and sometimes over 100 degrees, which is pretty darn warm. But when you add to that with like 80%, 90% humidity every single day in the summertime, and then add to that by the fact that my particular land where my house is at is in the middle of woods, really dense old growth woods that are really tall, there's no wind at all on my property, hardly at all in the summertime. So it's honestly miserable to be outside in the summertime on my land. So that, along with the fact that there's not much cost savings when it comes to building versus buying one of these sheds, because these sheds are so popular, there's a lot of competition with the people who make these things. It just made sense to just get one and have them drop it off kind of situation. So that's why I bought instead of building. Man, I'm tired. Number 4 on the list, City Hardwoods meetup. City Hardwoods is a hardwood distributor, hardwood dealer, a place to go buy hardwoods in Birmingham, Alabama. They also make stuff for people who buy stuff. If they don't particularly have the tools to, say, make a table, someone can go in there and pick out the wood and then have them build whatever they want. So City Hardwoods is having a meetup on December 8th. I'll be there. A lot of awesome people I know will be there. If you are available to come by, I encourage you to do so. It's going to be a lot of fun, and they've got some really, really exciting news to share with all of us. So be on the lookout for that. Number 5 on my list, which is why I'm tired right now, is my wife and I. Most of you guys know, my wife and I adopted a baby. Life is amazing. Life is great. And no matter how tired I am or how cranky I may be because of something not going right or whatever, I can just walk up and hold her and everything. Life is just great. Life is just great. So really enjoying that. That's also kind of a tremendous learning experience because this is our first child. So, obviously, being a parent for the first time, there is a learning experience there. But it's fascinating when you do something and then the baby reacts and learns a little bit. The whole process of figuring each other out, me figuring out the baby and the baby figuring out us, it's incredibly fascinating. So I'm thoroughly enjoying it. All of the comments and support and all the thumbs up and encouragement, it's all been great, and we very, very, very much appreciate it. That's number 5. Number 6 on my list is an amazing baby book that I want to share with you guys. So I don't know if you guys know Johnny Brook from Crafted Workshop. He and his wife had a child a few months back now, I think probably 4 months now. But he was telling me around the 3-month mark, I may have this wrong, but around the 3-month mark, his baby boy was sleeping in his bed or in his crib from like 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. And I thought that was just amazing. So I asked him, well, how? And he told me about this particular book, and it's called Moms on Call. Moms on Call, Basic Baby Care 0 to 6 months. Anyway, it's not that big of a book. It's not that thick. It's an easy read. It's mainly, basic guidelines and such, but there's 2 things in here that are amazing. Talking about feeding, as well as daytime, nighttime schedules, and this has just been amazing. Tyler is our baby's name, and she is approaching 4 weeks of age, already sleeping on her own in her own room. As a matter of fact, she's never stayed in our room in this house. She stayed in, obviously, the same room while we were in a hotel room in Florida for the adoption process. But since we came back, she's always been in her own room and just been so amazing. The schedule that we have her on, based upon the schedule in this book, is incredibly predictable and easy for her to adapt to. So highly recommend it. If you guys know of anybody having kids anytime soon, I'll have a link down below. Check it out, for real. It's an amazing, amazing resource. Next on the list is number 7. Because of the baby, everyone's been asking me if I'm going to be making any baby furniture. Yes and no. I'm not going to be making baby furniture, but I will be making furniture for our baby. So I know a lot of people really want to make cribs and make beds that are modular or adjustable or transform as the baby grows. I don't want to make hardly any baby furniture. The reason being is kids will outgrow it really, really fast, and this may be our only child. We don't know about that just yet. So my thinking is I would much rather build Tyler a full-blown bedroom set that she can grow into as she grows up here, and then she could also take that bedroom set with her to college or wherever life takes her. She could take it with her. So that's what I'm leaning more towards rather than a baby furniture. So no, not much at all baby furniture in the future. Number 8 on the list, lots of shop changes. So September of 2018 is kind of like the month that my life just blew up in a tremendously awesome way, both with my family life and then business. Some things are going on that's just been really, really great. I was approached by a couple companies, and we've got some stuff in the works, and I don't want to get into much of it right now because it's all going to make sense here soon, and you guys will see what all is going on here soon. But yeah, I've got a lot of shop changes, basically a lot of upgrades, and like I said, you'll see that shortly. That has also thrown a wrench into my scheduling because we didn't get back from Florida because of the adoption situation until October 3rd or 2nd. It was last Friday. I guess this video will publish on a Friday, and the Friday before that is when we got back. And that means that all of these tools that came in while I was gone, I've got to set them up, and it's literally taking me an entire week to get the shop back in order and get all the machines and tools calibrated and all that stuff. So I'm just now ready to rock and roll with some projects. I've got a tremendous amount of stuff on my schedule, and hopefully we're going to roll through it. I've got some exciting stuff coming up. So that caused me to make some slight changes with electrical and dust collection. I had to redo dust collection for certain tools, and I had to run basically like a portable sub panel that is done safely. I'm not going to post electrical stuff online. I've learned my lesson. Sometimes I'll post some pictures like I did on Instagram, but that's just about it. Next on the list is number 9, which is, next up is a bit of CNC stuff. I've got some CNC stuff coming because I've got an Axiom CNC machine, and I went to IWF, and back up. Prior to IWF, me and a friend of mine got a small little CNC machine in, and it kind of sparked the whole idea of CNC stuff again. And then we went to IWF in Atlanta, the International Woodworking Fair, and saw, you know, a bazillion different CNC machines. There's so many CNC machines out there, and particularly liked the Axiom. And yeah, we've got an Axiom in the shop now, and I've got a lot of really cool stuff planned for it. And I'm going to dive into that probably this week, but I've also got some other stuff going on at the same time. I'm trying to actually, for the first time, do a couple multiple projects at the same time and get them all completed and phase my work together, like batch out a bunch of shop work, and then I'll have to batch out a bunch of computer work, rather than individually doing shop work, computer work, planning, shop work, computer work, planning, you know. So there's that. Also, I'm going to have a bigger CNC section on my website, and I'm working with some other people to provide content for that on my website. So if you are interested in CNC stuff, I'll try and designate a day out of the week that I publish CNC related content, so that if you just don't really care, then just don't watch on that day. Same goes for my email newsletter. It'll all be filtered out into a CNC category, and if you do like CNC stuff, you'll get it. If you don't like, you can unsubscribe from that section of my website newsletter. Whew. Number 10 on the list, rather. I just shipped out all of these shirts, hats, stickers that were purchased while I was gone in Florida with the adoption situation. Thank you guys so much for your patience, and for all of you who bought something, then it should be on the way very soon. Actually, you might already be getting it. Number 11 on the list is a giveaway. I'm about to hit a milestone on YouTube, and I wanted to do just this really, really awesome giveaway. I'm still trying to work out the details. I can't for 100% certainty say that it 100% will happen, but if it does, it's going to be good. I want to really be able to give a lot of good stuff that I've actually, you know, put my brand behind, stuff that I personally use. So be on the lookout for that. It potentially might be really, really awesome. And then the last thing on the list, number 12, is it is early Friday morning, a couple days before taxes are due. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to get off here, go do my third quarter taxes for the business, and wait up just a little bit longer after that to give the baby a bottle. And then probably I'll try and get some sleep. So you guys take care. Have a great day, and I'll talk to you hopefully this coming Sunday. See you later.